Hi, boys and girls. Miss Blumenstock here. I will be reading The War with Grandpa, chapters 5 through 8. So please get your book, open up to page... Oh, I'm not even on it. Open up to page 17. Chapter 5, Sad and Blue as the Sky. Well, that is about as long a chapter as I ever care to write. It took about 5 days, and I don't know how authors ever write big fat books. They must spend their whole life doing it. Meanwhile, I was as sad as I ever was, up in my room, and about as blue as the sky. There's a thing that happens when parents want kids to do something and the kid doesn't want to. What happens is that the parents usually win. That's one of the big advantages of being a parent. You get to win the arguments. Take piano lessons, for example. Once a week, I go to Mrs. Beidle's house and spend 45 minutes blonking away at these stupid pieces while she sits beside me, sighing and shaking her head. Do I want to take piano lessons? No. Do I have to? Yes. Do I want to practice the piano every afternoon after school? No. Does my mom make me do it? You know the answer. Why couldn't I have baseball lessons instead? If somebody pitched me a baseball for 45 minutes every week, then maybe I could learn to hit a ball instead of striking out all the time, which is what I do, except a few times by accident I hit the ball. Last year I got only 2 hits all season. Anyway, what happened was that after a while my dad came up to my room and talked to me. I had that sinking feeling in my stomach the whole time we talked. I knew I was going to lose the argument. They couldn't move Jenny upstairs because she was still a baby, no matter what she says. And because Grandpa had a bad leg, he couldn't live on the top floor of our house. I'm sorry, Pete. That's just the way it is, Dad said. Can I say I think it stinks? I asked. Sure. It stinks. I agree with you, Dad said. It's disgusting, terrible, gross, and also horrible, I said. It sure is, Dad said. We'll start moving some of your things upstairs this weekend. I'm sure you'll be comfortable up there. I'll hate it. If you have that attitude, you will hate it, Dad said. Give it a chance, Peter. Do I have a choice? I asked. No. Then I don't want to talk about it anymore. And we didn't. Chapter 6, I Promise. I am putting down this promise in black and white so I don't ever forget it. When I grow up and have a kid, I will never make him do anything he really doesn't want to do. That is a solemn promise. So help me God. Except if it's something really important, like if he didn't want to brush his teeth, I'll have to make him do it or else he would get cavities and stuff. Or if he didn't want to eat vegetables, say, and he would not get his vitamins to help him grow up right. Or if he wanted to run across the street when a car was coming, I would have to stop that, of course. Or if he fooled around with matches or electricity or poison or things that could hurt him. And if he did not want to go to school, why, I guess I'd have to make him go, or he'd grow up stupid. Maybe there's a few other things he'd have to do I have not thought of. But other than that, no. And that's a promise. Chapter 7, Bits and Pieces. I notice that my sentences are getting too long again. I will write them shorter. About my dad, he started moving things, my things, from my room, up to the guest room on the top floor, which is also the 3rd floor. My toy cabinets, they are yellow for mica with white tops. 2 doors outside, 3 shelves inside, and all my good stuff was in them. All my board games, Monopoly, Stratomatic, Baseball, Clue, Careers, Risk, Snakes, and Ladders. All my crowns in a plastic box. Most of them were broken anyway. Old coloring books I use only when I am homesick. All my baseball cards were on top of the cabinets in these shoe boxes. I have been saving them since I was 7. I have almost 2,000 baseball cards, counting extras. Then my mom moved my summer clothes upstairs into the closet in the guest room, my new room. I had to help my dad move my bookcase upstairs. First, I moved my trophies. They go on top of the bookshelves. I had 6 of them, all gold. They were baseball trophies from playing on my Beverly Boys club teams. Since I was 6 years old, every kid who plays gets one. The other trophy was for a bowling tournament. I bowled a 96, my best score of all time. Let me be honest, every kid in the bowling tournament got one too. To move the bookcase upstairs, we first had to empty it. We put all my books on the floor first. All my encyclopedia brown books, all my great brain books, my whole collection of sports stories, all my paperbacks with baseball team records. My room began to look empty when we got it all upstairs. Then we moved my pictures from the wall and hung them upstairs. Hank Aaron hitting his 715th home run. Tom Seaver pitching, the first astronaut on the moon. Some of my best drawings I made for school. Pretty soon my walls were naked. Now my room looked weird. It didn't look like my room anymore. Lying on my bed, I began to think it wasn't my room, like I didn't belong there. A few days before Grandpa came, we moved my dresser. First, we took the drawers out, then we carried them upstairs one by one. Then we moved the dresser. It wasn't too heavy. Then we moved the old dresser from the guest room down into my room. Every night I had to go upstairs to bring down my clean clothes for the next day. We moved my desk next. It went upstairs into the corner of the guest room. I had to go up to the top floor every day after school to do my homework. The only thing left in my room was my bed, and the night before Grandpa came, we moved it upstairs too. Now all the guest room stuff was in my room, and all my things were up on the top floor in the guest room. I guess she'll start sleeping up here tonight, my dad said. I didn't say anything. Are you okay, Pete? My dad asked. You look like you're going to cry any second. I won't cry, I said. I hoped that was true. You'll get used to it, Dad said. He looked out of the window. Nice view from up here. Take a look, Pete. I stood next to my father and looked out. The Taub house was across the street. The street light on the corner showed through the trees. The tree on our lawn looked so close, I felt I could almost touch one of the branches. My dad put his arm around my shoulders. Growing up, Pete, he said. It isn't easy. Sometimes you have to do things you don't like. I hate it up here, I said. Dad sighed. I know. But Peter, you mustn't ever let Grandpa Jack know that, or else he'll feel terrible. And believe me, he feels terrible already. I didn't say anything when Dad hugged me. I didn't even feel any better either. The last thing that was moved into the guest room was me. Poor Peter. Chapter 8, Night Fright. I'm a little ashamed of this part of my story, but I have to tell the truth. Not only was I mad as a wet hairnet about losing my great room, I was a little bit scared about sleeping upstairs too. I brushed my teeth and did my go-to-bed things in the top floor bathroom. Instead of the beautiful bathroom Jenny and I shared downstairs, I had this dinky, dim bathroom now, and it was gross. The mirror was very old and had dark stains on it. The sink was very tiny and kind of yellow instead of being white, and the walls were dark old wood, like some rough cabin in the woods. I went downstairs to my parents' bedroom and kissed Mom goodnight. On the way back upstairs, I peeked into my old room. It looked strange to see different furniture in there. Strange and kind of hurting. It was scary to go upstairs to my room. The staircase leading to the top floor was narrow and rickety. The stairs were bare wood that creaked when you stepped on them, and there wasn't too much light. Not like the steps leading to the second floor, which were covered with thick carpet and had a beautiful light fixture, so everything was plain as day. The hallway upstairs was spooky, a narrow little space that was very dark, with open doors to empty rooms that looked like black caves where someone could be hiding. I know that sounds silly, but that's what I was feeling. There is no boogeyman who sits in the dark to grab kids. I know that. But at 9 o'clock at night, in this dim little hallway with the floorboards cracking, you get frightened. You can get frightened, whether you know that or not. I kind of jumped into my new room and slammed the door shut fast, and just as fast jumped into bed and under the covers. I waited a while before I turned off my lamp. I was in no hurry for it to get dark. But finally I did it, and that turned out to be scary too. Like I said before, in my old room I knew where everything was and how everything was, and there was nothing scary. But up here, it was different. A light flickered on the ceiling and the wall, making shadows that jumped around, and a rustling noise came from outside the window, and something in the hallway made a sound. Was it a footstep outside my door? I may sound very brave just writing these things down so easy. The thought was, I was terrified out of my mind. The waving shadows of yellow light on the wall almost began to look like two black arms that could grab me. Be still, my heart, I whispered to myself, which is something my mom says sometimes. I felt like an idiot talking to myself, but I was the only company I had in that room. It's nothing, I said. I crossed my fingers. Then I crossed my toes. Go to sleep, I told myself. Just close your eyes and fall asleep and everything will be hunky-dory. Ha! I got into my best sleeping position, which was curled up on the right side with my hands tucked under my cheeks. The rustling sound came to be from the big old tree outside my window. I figured after a while. And the spooky yellow light was probably the street lamp on the corner, and the noises outside my door were just old floorboards creaking. And there really wasn't a crook or a murderer sneaking up here to get me. Probably. And then I began to get angry. Why was I the only one in the house who had to give up something for Grandpa? Why me? And why was I stuck up here in this disgusting and scary place instead of staying in my great and wonderful room? I thought about my illustrated book of old sea battles and the picture of John Paul Jones on deck with his big curved sword in the air. I have just begun to fight, he said. It gave me an idea. Maybe there was a way I could fight back to get back what was really mine. But how? That's what I was thinking about when I finally fell asleep. Ooh, it's getting good. All right, nice job, boys and girls. I can't wait to read the rest with you guys.